Have you ever just sat there and thought, man, what if I could go back in time and change just one thing? Well, today, we're diving headfirst into one of the most mind-bending, brain-twisting concepts in all of science fiction and physics, the time paradox.
I mean, that's the real question, isn't it? If you had a time machine, would you actually use it? And maybe more importantly, could you? This ultimate what-if scenario, well, it opens up a whole universe of contradictions that we're about to explore.
All right, so let's kick things off with that classic scenario we all know and love from the movies, right? The idea of changing the past. It's an awesome idea, for sure, but as you're about to see, it opens up a massive can of worms.
But, okay, before we go completely off the deep end, we probably need to get on the same page. What exactly is a time paradox? Let's break down what we're actually talking about here.
So you see, a time paradox isn't just about tweaking things. It's when a change you make creates a situation that literally cannot exist. The very action of you going back and changing something makes the reason you went back in the first place totally impossible. It's a total contradiction.
And I love this quote because it just nails it. It's the ultimate chicken and egg problem, right? Which came first, your action or the event you went back to change? The second you interfere, the whole chain of logic just crumbles into this impossible self-canceling loop.
Okay, to really wrap our heads around this, let's look at the two heavy hitters, the most famous paradoxes out there. They do a perfect job of showing the different ways a timeline could, completely break.
And first up is the one everyone knows, the absolute classic, the grandfather paradox. It's got to be the most straightforward and honestly the most devastating example of how time travel could go horribly, horribly wrong.
Just look at this logic loop. It's a perfect, inescapable trap. You go back, you succeed, but your success erases the very person who went back in time, you. It's a completely self-defeating loop with no logical way out. You both exist and don't exist, all at the same time. It's a nightmare.
All right, so the grandfather paradox is all about erasure, about wiping something or someone out of existence. But what about a paradox of creation? This is where things get really weird with the Bootstrap Paradox, which is also called a causal loop. Seriously, take a second and let this one sink in. Imagine you love a song. You travel back in time and you teach that song to the artist before they've even written it. Then they record it. It becomes a huge hit, the same hit you always knew. So, who wrote the song? The artist learned it from you, but you only knew it because you learned it from them. The song has no origin.
And that is the whole deal with a causal loop. You've got an object or a piece of information that's just stuck in this infinite cycle. It gets passed from the future to the past, which then allows it to exist in the future so it can get passed back again. It never had a beginning. It just is. Wild, right?
So, if these paradoxes are such a brain melter, how do you even get around them? Well, physicists and science fiction writers have come up with a couple of pretty fascinating ways to try and solve these impossible knots.
So on the table, you've basically got two main competing ideas. Over on one side, you have the Novikov Self-Consistency Principle. This theory says the timeline is fixed, it's self-healing. The universe itself will stop you from creating a paradox. Any attempt you make to change the past will just fail, or even worse, it'll accidentally be the thing that causes the event you were trying to stop. Then, on the other side, you have the many worlds interpretation. This theory suggests that your actions don't change your past at all. Instead, they just create a brand new, branching timeline. A whole new universe, leaving your original one completely untouched.
Okay, this is all super fun to think about, but let's get real for a second. What's the bottom line? Could any of this stuff actually happen? Let's bring it back down to Earth and see what our current understanding of physics has to say.
Yeah, the hard truth here is that most physicists, they're pretty sure traveling to the past is, well, almost impossible. It would completely violate our fundamental understanding of cause and effect, what we call causality. And for now, all those cool sci-fi tools for time travel, like wormholes, they're still purely theoretical.
And this is where things get really interesting. Some people think that the very existence of these unbreakable logical paradoxes is the universe's way of telling us something important, that you just can't go backward in time. The logic doesn't work because the action itself is forbidden by the fundamental rules of reality.
So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if they're just a cool plot device for a movie or a genuine roadblock in theoretical physics. Time paradoxes force us to ask these gigantic questions about our universe, about the nature of time, and our place in it all. So I want to leave you with this to chew on. If time travel really were possible, which of those two realities seems more plausible to you?
A single, unchangeable timeline that can't be broken, or an infinite multiverse with new realities branching off with every single choice we make? It's a big question.